going on, guys? Welcome back to PFI Speed. As you guys know, Shawn has been a huge part of our S2000 race car project. He's built this whole chassis, he's gone over the whole thing, and he's done a bang up killer job. So today's episode, we got one more project that he busted out on this. I'm gonna bring you that today. So let's see what he got knocked off the list. Gets us one step closer to the racetrack.
Shawn's project coming together great. Looks like he's got his manifold all on. Just built this fuel pump bracket. Now this engine is called a ZC. They're out of Japan. Dual overhead cam, similar to a D16 bottom end with a dual cam head. These heads are similar to Integras we had 88 and 89. And then he's got that made into a B series transmission. Little mid plate action. So no T bracket. This is gonna be cool.
Today I got a couple dynos, and I think we've got a couple little projects. Looks like Shawn's already working on the Legends bill housing. So this is for the X-Track transmission, and you noticed it needed a couple bolt holes fixed.
Yeah, the first thing I did is look at all the threads, and pretty much the tranny to bell housing bolt holes, they're all a 10 by 1.25 thread pitch, but they were pretty worn out.
Yeah.
I mean, they were still barely there, so I could figure out what they were, but
yeah,
they were beat. They were beat.
So he's gonna start off by fixing those threads and going over that. And I've got some dyno to do. Goof is working on his hot rod CRX. We do go to get the frame pulled on Saturday, so I'm pretty stoked about that, and it'll be nice to get this thing straight. And then Twin Turbo Todd's been hard at his hot rod. It's coming together really good. That thing looks like a monster.
It's close.
It's close.
Really close now.
You keep going over it.
Oh yeah.
One thing I gotta say about you is perseverance. There's no quit, no end.
No.
Searching for that perfect pass. That's cool. Trying. Always. That's it. All right, so let's tune some cars and let's just have a rad day. Perfect. Look at how dirty this thing is. Can't even believe Harley keeps this thing this dirty.
When the weather.
He's keeps this thing pretty pristine and is emotional about the
Sad.
yeah, the weather. Off-road, it just shows it's an off-road vehicle that drives in Mexico or Canada.
That's all that Canadian salt.
Canadian salt
Canadian
makes
salt.
sense. Yeah. This thing.
Every bit of slush that I could and went directly to it.
You did wonderful. So we got a Road Trek supercharger. What crank pulley is on this one?
So the last time we were here, it was a K24A1 out of an Accord. Now it's a CRV, which is supposed to be 5 millimeters bigger.
Oh, glad I asked.
Last year I had to replace the blower. It seized right before the first street chaos event. And then we changed the intake to get it away from the header back there.
Nice.
That's it. Everything else is the same.
Everything else is the same. Very cool. All right, so we're gonna dive in, make a couple rips, see how this thing's doing. She is a gem.
So I've already gotten most all these holes all countersunk, drilled, and tapped, but the certs that I want to use, the length of them, I had to shave the tip of my tap down a little bit so I could get the thread cut a little deeper. So it was just like, I don't know, tap back out. Yeah. Tap's all the way down. So before I modified my tap, the tap was stopping about a 1/4 inch. The threads were stopping a 1/4 inch before the bottom of the hole. Now they're getting down to like within 1/8 of an inch of the bottom of the hole. So quite a bit more with the modified tap. And that's just because I want these certs to sink all the way down to the seat. Top of them, they have a little seat that's wider. And they have a special bit I use that cuts the seat, so I want to make sure that that rim hits the top of the seat. That helps just lock the time cert in place better. Set. There we go, all nice and below the surface. Time certs in.
See where we're at. $467 to start. Woo!
Is that your max that you've pulled on this?
That's the most it's done so far.
That's the most it's
Yep.
done? It's this cool air.
Gotta be.
It's the cold.
Yeah. Yep.
That is awesome.
Okay.
Alright, let's roll.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
There we go. Hell yeah. She was just thirsty.
Need 18 more.
Well, my daughter called it an alcoholic earlier, so.
Am I wrong?
So that was 13.8 pounds of boost, but she was
So that's probably
a little richer, so it was happier.
This is right as he hit the rev limiter.
What did, let me see. That was great.
Awesome.
That's pretty fun though.
We've never had this much fun.
So then this tells you what all happened throughout the whole thing, so you can go in and fix all the things that aren't quite right.
That graph is ridiculous.
Just make it better and better. So this dirty girl threw down. We made a high of 487, right? Or 482?
486.
486. Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Stock block.
Yeah, stock block.
Stock motor. Stock motor, yeah. Stock head bolts, cams.
We do, I mean, springs, retainers, and some more, you know, because we haven't fallen off, you know. If I could just move the rev limiter higher, we would still go. But we're already pretty high, so we probably should spring retainer it before we go much more and do a Type S oil pump.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the balance shaft, so
I figured I have one to put in it if I ever have to take the pan off. I just,
haven't got there.
yeah, no, this thing's been so reliable, I haven't had to do anything with the motor.
Yeah. Awesome. Woo! Look at all that fanciness.
It's also been converted to electric power steering out of the E3.
T4. Also electric power steering as well, huh?
Yep. Then AC's all been deleted.
It's race car.
Race car, don't need that stuff.
Yep, don't need that stuff. And you're just starting out with this kit because it's cheap and you can get the stuff going?
Yeah, because it had to move the header anyways for the all-wheel drive, so figured we'd get this out of the way first and then put everything else in.
What kit is this?
Just a eBay, I think it's EM USA.
EM USA. Alright, we'll get to see what one of those makes.
I did.
Nice. I like the battery charging stuff.
Yes, that's all from that DC5 Creations, and then I've got his catch cans under here as well.
Oh,
That's
cool.
up in the wiper cow area. So the only
So that's where all this is going.
Yeah.
DC5 Creations coming up with some.
Yeah, he's got his
Radlo products.
battery relocation kit, comes
Down
with all
there.
the nice wiring. He supplies the remote terminals. Both my cars have those in it.
How'd this one stay so clean?
My trailer has a rock guard on it. My good friend Joe Warner's trailer does not.
Oh, good old Joe. That's sick. Very
And
cool.
normally, when you guys see it in the summer, it's got the Mugen carbon fiber hood on it.
Oh, it's got the carbon hood. Summer things.
Black interior swap.
Nice. Swap the interior too. That is cool. Shut us down early. Let's see. Yeah. I said 10 pounds. Let's try this again. What do you got in this thing for a clutch? 'Cause I just blew right through that sucker. Look, the mile per hour went down and the RPMs went up.
I told Shawn that was going to happen too. It would make 200 horsepower. They blew through it.
Blew through it. You could even smell it in the air. Get some idle motor in this thing. You do have the idle motor hooked up,
Yeah.
right? I mean, of course you do. It's you. I'm so used to no idle motors. All right, so we got Harley out of here. The RSX blew through the clutch, so obviously he's gonna have to fix that. He'll be back with that, so I'm looking forward to seeing that back on the dyno. But Shawn and I were just talking, and we've got to get the other.
You gotta get a V-band on the lower dump tube.
But I've also got to do these time certs into the oil pan and the front cover. And to be honest with you guys, it's probably going to be easier to pull this out. Seems like it'd be a lot of work, but it's actually not too bad. So I think I'm going to pull the engine real quick, run through that, make sure all the bolt holes are fixed and everything looks good bolt hole wise, and then put it back in. So it's good practice anyway. Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and dive in and start getting this thing apart. Shawn got the turbo kit off of ShoNuff.
Finished the dump tube project.
And when it's out, I need to look at number 3 because I'm getting some oil there. Got a valve seal or something not quite right, or there's something. So,
notches.
All right, so the engine is out. We were testing something, and that is not the way we are going to do that from now on. We're limited on where we could put the chain, so we put this on the front and on that back corner, and yeah, it did just what the chain is set up to do. Put it sideways. Yeah. So that was not cool. But we know now we're gonna put a couple hooks on it for chain. We got to run through, fix some of these strip bolts. It only ran for a little while. Like I said, this head was my old engine, but I got some oil here and here, so I need to check what's going on with that. And yeah, so we're just gonna run through things real quick, and then I'm gonna put it right back in. But man, it does look badass. Look at that.
There ain't no engine. No engine before race week. Oh no! Well guys, as you saw in the other video, the engine's out just to get the oil pan time inserted, so it has all the fasteners clamping down and holding it tight so there's no leaks. And we have it back over here on the fab side to address the steering rack. So we actually have I believe it's a Chevy Nova 2 rack. And we're gonna get rid of the S2000 rack for this rack. As you can see, this rack just has a couple ends, little mounts, and its pinion coming out. Ta-da, simple. S2000 rack has like a sensor ring. It has a big old electric magnet servo housing and all this extra stuff. This thing's an army tank compared to that one. So, time to take the old out, put this one in, plus to get better bump steer, the rack needs to drop about a ½ inch lower. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this, and this one being mounted, we'll be able to get that ½ inch lower clearance. That way the bump steer is a lot less movement, you know, when it goes up in the air. Let's go ahead and get this factory rack out of here, and then we'll get to putting this Ford rack in here. There's the old mount out. All right, so Brent just got back with some parts for me. He ran into town real quick. Got me some tube ends. Also got me another bolt I had welded into the tube and have a really nice lightweight mount. So I already bolted one through the rack. So you can see we got the bolt here, tube end on that side, and we got one more to put in. So now those are both on. We're going 25.5 inches from the engine plate just to my center line of this. We'll measure off that, and then I'll set my height right here, and then I'll go ahead and figure out that lower tube that's going to go down there, and we'll make this thing a working steering rack. Now we got our notches on our bar that's gonna hold the tube ends. And yeah, I'm gonna go clean up the ends on the other belt sander, and then we'll go test fit it. Alright. Well, I got the cross member tube in there, and I'm about to set the rack on here with it standoffs and tack it into place.
All right, well, I have those tacked to that cross member, and I am gonna go ahead and weld these while it's on the welding table, and then we'll put it back in the car, and then we'll be able to weld just the ends real quick to the chassis, and then the rack will be mounted. Yeah. Now we let it cool. So then I can put it back on the rack and we can go tack it into the car.
All right, what you got going here, Shawn?
Oh, just got done welding in the new steering rack support.
Very cool. Yeah, that looks good. I like the little gussets too.
Yeah, you gotta have a little bit of gusset for side to side load.
Yeah. I mean, I like the old stuff, but it wasn't gonna work, so we needed it narrower, and this is gonna work out really good. One of those things that was on our list, and you had to get it done. So.
And it got about 7/8 of an inch lower too.
Oh, wow.
So that'll actually help a lot with putting them on the underside of the control arms and then being able to play with bump steer a little bit.
Awesome.
So
looking good.
yeah.
Very cool, man.
Hey, Brent, I got both racks side by side now, man.
Dropping everything. Oh, jeez. Yeah, my back's not gonna let me do that right now.
And that's gutted.
That's definitely heavy.
And I gutted all the magnets out of that a long time ago.
Well, and it's a little narrower too.
Yeah.
So that alone's gonna help so much.
Yeah, having these longer positions here, because then as the angle goes up and down, it won't push and pull as much.
Won't turn the front wheels. That was the problem we were having with this. We were having to shorten these arms, but then they were shorter than our control arms. So the front wheels is like, if it would have popped a wheelie, the wheels would have just done all kinds of wacky stuff.
Towed in, towed out.
And then when you land, it's
the opposite.
You don't want to steer you around, and we need it to come up and land straight. So
yeah, and look, these bolt-on ends right now are pretty much even on this side. And then you come over here, and this one's inside of here compared to that one out there. So I mean, we gained 7 inches of pivot arm length.
ShoNuff, we needed that.
Definitely lost some weight with this rack. Now you just need to get some outer tie rod ends, and we need to get a universal joint with the right spline count size on this, and then we'll just custom double U-joint to this, and it'll be steering with a lightweight rack. ShoNuff. Alrighty, well, I had a couple Honda universal joints from steering just laying around, and then I also had some old steering spline stuff left over from when we did the bully stuff, and I was able to find a long piece of spline stuff I was able to cut and crimp between these two, and then it was able to tighten up down on here and up here, but when I turn it, it wobbles a little bit, so we are definitely going to have to build a Heim joint like brace to hold this side of the steering rod, and then the double universal will work perfectly fine. But all in all, we got that steering rack in there today. Looks real good. Definitely gave us more clearance, and yeah, it's almost rock and roll steering. Definitely some weight savings. Took a couple pounds off with this, which is always a good thing with a race car. Well guys, hope you enjoyed watching me mount this steering rack, and keep watching progress on it. Talk to you guys later.
ShoNuff
That sure turned out good. Well, guys, you guys saw Shawn crushed it. He did a bang up job. He worked real hard and got that all worked out just before he left. So I appreciate that so much. Kick butt. And I look forward to what he does in the future. Him and Hayden ought to crush it. They always have worked real well together, and they both got really good ideas, and their fab skills are top notch. And I think this is just a killer move for them, and I think they're gonna create some real gold over there. So it's gonna be fun to watch. I think growth is super important. So I wanna wish him the best. And Todd, he crushed it. I appreciated his help so much on so many projects, and he's just a top-notch tech. And I think where he lands in the future is just gonna be a good move for him too. So wishing them the best. And that was a really fun video to make. And you know, one last little kickoff. So that was cool. But that's gonna do it for today's episode. I appreciate you guys watching and being part of the channel. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow.
And cut.
Big things are coming.